and welcome to the Voice of TOD. I'm Tom, and in this one we're going to do a quick breakdown of, I think it's 7 of my favourite reveals from the Game Awards. Honestly, I didn't think it was that good. It certainly wasn't a great award show. It didn't feel like a celebration of gaming for 2023, and I don't think it highlighted a lot of the issues that we've had in the industry this year. It's probably not the place for it. You know, it was very flashy, it was very stylish, there was some fun things there, there was some alright reveals, but honestly, it didn't blow me away, and the reveals I didn't... Like, I've picked 7 out. There's a few things that excite me, and there's a few that I thought looked kind of cool. That's kind of where we're at. Last year I thought was better, let's put it this way. But, just a quick note before we get into the first trailer, which is Exodus, which was announced by Matthew McConaughey on stage. I wanted to say Baldur's Gate 3 was robbed. Yes, it won Game of the Year, absolutely, but I think it should have won more. The awards that it did win, absolutely thoroughly deserved. I thought that Neil's Astarian's voice actor, is it Newburn? I can't remember his name. I thought that his speech was great. He was just thanking everybody, not just taking the award for himself. Really, really cool. And then, you know, I feel that it should have had more, because Baldur's Gate 3, it's not just Game of the Year, it's potentially, you know, Game of the Decade. It's so good. But enough about the awards, enough about the show itself. We're going to look at the fun things that came out. So as I say, I've got 7, we're going to go through them. I think this is in probably order that they were announced, it's how I've written them down. They're not really in any top order, so this one isn't my least expected or my most expected. I just thought that these look cool. So this is Exodus. This is probably one of the more interesting ones. Very, very, very Mass Effect vibes, which everybody's saying, and it's kind of easy to pick up on. But this could be very good. So let's take a look. I mean, it's slightly more, like, not cartoony, but a slightly more Pixar-y feel to the graphics. This is obviously a live-action trailer. I don't know if we got gameplay in this one. A lot of the trailers were just CGI. There wasn't a lot of gameplay on show. But this is, you know, some of the guys from 343 who left 343 have gone into this studio archetype. There's Drew Karpyshyn, who wrote Mass Effect 1 and 2 and Knights of the Old Republic. Massive part of the golden age of BioWare. He's part of this studio. Matthew McConaughey's actually in the game as well at some point. I think that's him. It hits all the sci-fi story stuff that I like. I do like the art style. I really like how, like, militaristic yet very futuristic and some parts alien this looks. I don't really get what's happening here. Something about time travel and all that kind of stuff. So we're probably looking at more of an Andromeda style, flying into the unknown. And an alien race is after us for some reason. There's another trailer that they've released after this, which is more of a story trailer, which we'll probably take a look at in a separate video. If you want, I'm going to put the links to the trailers if you want to watch them without me yabbering over them as well. I just think this looks really cool. It looks very story driven, it looks very narrative, very cinematic. Yes, this is a cinematic trailer, but goddamn do I love my sci-fi games. And goddamn do we need a Mass Effect that lives up to or a Mass Effect style game that lives up to that Mass Effect style. We are the travelers. And then here we go with the copyright music, so I'm gonna mute that. So we do get gameplay. It looks very Andromeda, to be honest. I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing, but it feels like Mass Effect Andromeda. But I love seeing a lot of this stuff. You also get crazy powers. Become the Traveler. Yeah, I mean, it's coming to everything. Well, I say everything. It was PS5, Xbox, Series X, PC. Wizards of the Coast. As in the Wizards of the Coast? Interesting. Archetype are a fairly new studio. So many industry veterans from BioWare, 343. There was another place as well. Is there some from EA? These guys, if everything works out well and they're given the time and the funding, they could make something really fancy with this. But I thought Exodus looked pretty fun, so now, obviously, with all of these, let me know what you think in the comments. Anything I've missed that you're excited about, let me know as well, because there's quite a few things I want to keep my eye on, but as I say, I've only picked 7 or 8, so I think it's 7. But let me know in the comments what you think of my selection and what you think of these games or anything else that was announced at the Game Awards. And we'll jump right into the next one. So this is No Rest for the Wicked, a new game coming from Moon Studios. Now Moon, I've never played them on the channel, I wouldn't play them on the channel, but Moon are the studio behind the absolutely amazing Metroid style Ori games, Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisps. I still need to play the second one, but Ori and the Blind Forest was visually amazing. It told a beautiful story. It really pulls at your heartstrings. It really wound me up with how tough some of the sections were. It was a very challenging game for somebody like me who's not really good at that kind of jumping around the levels kind of thing. But it was just an incredible presentation of what video games can be. And Ori's just beautiful. Like I'd love a little Ori. Like who wouldn't? It's the cutest thing ever. But Ori was incredible. And off the back of that, I think Moon Studios are amazing. This is their new game. It's called No Rest for the Wicked. It's more of an RPG style. We're gonna have a little look now. Also, Private Division. I think it's a duo. But it just, there's something very moody about it. Again, beautiful visuals, very well presented. And there's this edge of mystery, of terror, of, you know, this darkness under it all. Very different from what Moon have done previously that I'm aware of anyway. But it's more because it's Moon is why I'm interested. But yeah, I think that this could have potential, and I think it looks very interesting. Obviously the Ori style mutated creatures. I mean this stuff is just crazy. It's very Witcher-esque in that kind of messed up mythos of like horror and like slightly weird fairy tale stuff. Obviously platforming is involved, and combat, probably more combat than Ori. There was a bit of combat in Ori, but there wasn't a huge amount of variation that I remember. You had a certain set of moves, and whereas here you've got melee, you've got magic. Definitely a very different camera style, with this not being a sort of 2D scroller. That's unfair. Like, it's not, Ori isn't a 2D scroller, it's a beautifully visioned 3D world, but it's that traditional 2D style, like the old arcadey camera view of you're just watching the level and Ori moves from left to right across it, whereas this looks a bit more fluid and freer with a camera. But I think that looks, so we're going to learn more. That sounds like they're doing a like a special, either a press release or a video or something more coming in March 1st, so not too long that we need to wait until something new, which is next year. This is available on PS5 as well, I believe. I've just found the trailer. The first one I clicked on was the Xbox one. It's not Xbox exclusive, certainly not from what I saw, and it's also available on PC as well. So that's No Rest for the Wicked. Again, it is just, we'll just jump back a little bit on this one. It just has this beautiful, like, wonderful use of color, and the weather effects and the environments just look beautiful. Obviously Moon, I am a big fan of theirs anyway. It just, something about it captured me, and it also, I think an element of it is, with me, you know, I love Fable, first Fable. I got that kind of vibe from the world, not in the humorousness, but just how it looks. It looks like it changes, drastically from the brilliant, vibrant greens of a forest to the darker, murkier inner woods, and yeah, I thought this looked really cool. I don't really know what else to say. This is just a very quick look. There's probably some half gameplay, half CGI, but we're not getting a huge amount of information on any of this stuff. This is just a quick look what's coming in the next year or so. No Rest for the Wicked. Looking forward to seeing that. Let's jump on to the next one. So the next one is Jurassic Park Survival. That tells you everything you need to know. It's set on the original Jurassic Park, as we'll see in the CGI trailer. There was a little bit of gameplay shown at the end as well, so we'll have a little look at that. But it's basically the CGI trailer giving you a feel for a world that, if you're a kid of my generation, you will know very well. Jurassic Park, the movie, the first one, the classic Jurassic Park, absolutely mind-blowing for what it did. 1993, I think it was. It just changed the scape of Hollywood. And I've always wanted something with a more modern, sort of up-to-date, good graphics, Unreal 4, Unreal 5, that kind of more modern style graphics, in some kind of dinosaur-y thing. The movie 65 with Adam Driver gave me that kind of horror dinosaur action movie, which was really cool, but I've always thought that a dinosaur game like that would have been incredible. It looks like we're getting it, and we're getting it in Jurassic Park. One warning before we get into this. This trailer is heavily nostalgia baited. It works for me. I think it's too much, but it's very much, you remember this, you remember this, you remember this. The protagonist that we're going to see in this trailer is basically wearing the same clothes as Ellie Sattler, and it's going through the movie in reverse. Just so you've got an idea of what's going on here. But let's jump in and have a little look. To be honest, if they made a whole series of games like this, survival games in Jurassic Park, I would be happy. Also, I'm going to talk over this because this is probably going to be copyrighted. So hey, do you remember the T-Rex? Do you remember Alan Grant's hat? Do you remember the main hub? I mean, the CGI looks pretty good. So the story is, she's been left behind. They've evacuated the island after the catastrophic events of the first movie, and she's still here. And I'm guessing you've got to get off. I think this is a very clever trailer because it really plays on the nostalgia of the old movie backwards. But obviously it's not velociraptors. But look, velociraptors in the cold storage. You know, it's that kind of thing. And she's been chased by a Dilophosaurus. Just run. Don't just look at it. Just run. Oh look, the gates, but you're going through the other way. I know I'm being cynical, but that's just kind of how it feels. But we do get some gameplay at the end, so... You remember the T-Rex tracks? And then the water vibrating? You remember? I remember! I mean, the T-Rex looks glorious, though. And then the flare, obviously, because that's what you're going to do when you see a T-Rex. Because you need to get that imagery in. So this graphically looks a little bit ropey, but this is alpha footage. It's still in development, and yeah, I expect this to look better. Oh look, member berries. Cold storage is open. So this is actually coming from Saber, who make good stuff. I'm expecting this to be pretty good. No release date. I don't know when. I would say 2025, probably, at the earliest. But let's just jump back into the gameplay. So, clearly just first-person survival-y stuff with dinosaurs. I don't know, you just stand still with the T-Rex, right? We don't get a lot, and it is alpha footage. But you throw the music in, you throw dinosaurs in, you brand it Jurassic Park. I'm probably going to want to check it out. So this looked fun. as you probably know, I'm not a massive survival horror fan. I want to play more of them, but they don't really get me. But this, like, I'm sold. You give me dinosaurs, I'm pretty much sold. I'll check it out. I'm very easy to please when you press the right buttons. Right, let's jump into the next one. Okay, this one is probably going to come out well before the movie of the same name. This is Marvel's Blade. I think we've needed a Blade video game for probably 30 years as well. Blade's one of those characters where, and I go in and out with Marvel. I love the MCU up to Endgame, and then I'm kind of done with it. There's a couple of characters from the MCU that I love, but they're very much, they're film characters. It's a film version of. Whereas with Blade, my first introduction with Blade was probably 1998, 1999, with a VHS of the movie Blade with Wesley Snipes. One of the greatest vampire movies of all time, probably one of the greatest Marvel movies of all time, well before there was an MCU. I don't even know if Marvel actually had the rights to that movie. It's probably at a point where they were selling off their characters to try and bring money in. But the Wesley Snipes, the first one, Blade, is just absolutely incredible. I watched it back recently just to get that feel. And it's timeless. Yeah, the CGI looks a little ropey, but it's an old movie now. And Blade is just one of those really interesting characters who you could make an amazing action movie out of, you can make an amazing action game out of. This trailer is pure CGI, but it's not only is it a character that you can do a lot with and have fun with, and really like have supernatural powers without it feeling really stupid. You different combat styles. You can do shooting. You can do obviously the sword work, because he has his infamous katana. This is going to be interesting. The premise behind this is it's a Blade game set in Paris. It's been made by Arcane Lyon, which it will say, and obviously Bethesda. Nobody knows if this is Xbox exclusive. Potentially, but nobody knows. But it's a vampire game in Paris with Blade, Marvel license, and it's by the team who did Deathloop and Dishonored. I didn't love Dishonored, I haven't played Deathloop, but depending how they do this, and they did confirm multiple times, this is a single player game. Arcane is back to its roots. It's none of that Redfall crap. I thought it was Redfall. None of that Redfall crap. This is a single player, true Arcane game.
Relax,
so
man. I don't bite.
So this could be really cool, or it could be something that I wouldn't want to play.
Lock up tight now. Night's just getting started.
That's it. That's it. It's just a very quick trailer. That's probably going to get copyrighted as well, isn't it? It is now in development. We don't really get anything. I mean, it clearly isn't Wesley Snipes, but that just looks, with the fangs and everything, it looks like Blade, right? Cool, really, really cool. Looking forward to seeing more of this. It's probably going to be an Xbox exclusive. I hope it isn't. I don't think it should be. Something as big as Blade, if you want it to do well, you have it on the most popular platform, the PS5. Surely you'd want to make money with this. And you would have thought that Marvel would say, look, we're licensing you this, but here's a stipulation. But all of that aside, like hopes, dreams, whatever, all of that aside, I think that if they get the story right, if they stay close to the character, they could actually have a lot of fun with this. And the Dishonored, yes, Dishonored is a very stealth-driven game, which is why I never really got on with the first one. I should probably try it again, in all honesty. But that style of the magic that they had, and there was a little bit of like stealth close assassinations, close combat kind of thing. You could probably do Blade really well with that kind of game. So yeah, looking forward to seeing more of this. There's not a lot to go on. There's no gameplay. They're just announcing it's in development. It's not coming out anytime soon, but something to get hyped about, and we'll probably see more, I don't know, maybe E3 time next year, so June next year at the Microsoft, whatever Microsoft show off, potentially. Or it could just be quiet for a while, and who knows? We don't know. But it's definitely single player. And that's the thing that piqued my interest, because Redfall was, well, Redfall, basically. But that's Blade. Let's jump on to the next one. So there was a lot of hype surrounding this game for me this year. I was pretty confident, and I think I'd said in the previous display from what we've seen that this was going to be pushed to next year. We finally got a release date for Space Marine 2. A little bit of new footage as well. I've played Space Marine 1 recently. I think it was about 12 months ago we played Space Marine 1 over on the TOD Plays Games channel. There's things to love in there. I didn't love the style of game. I thought it felt very dated. But the character of Titus is really cool. And Space Marines are pretty cool, let's be honest. You know, basically walking tanks. And this, everything I have seen for Space Marine 2 has looked absolutely incredible. We only got a quick 30-second release date reveal, but I'm so hyped for this. So hyped, I cannot wait. This might even be my most hyped game of next year now. But let's have a little look. This is on everything. Xbox, PS5, PC.
My honor is my life.
It just looks cool. I don't know if that's multiplayer. I don't know if that's like just story campaign, but that there wasn't Titus. So there's an element of character customization somewhere.
My pledge.
But this just looks chaos.
Service.
And it's coming out on my birthday, which must count for something, right? September the 9th, 2024, on all of the big consoles except Switch, because it probably wouldn't run on a Switch. So PS5, PC, and Xbox Series X. Yeah, I think this just looks absolutely nuts. It's the shot of like this, and this is probably just playing Halo Infinite's Firefight, finally released this week. This is probably just playing Firefight. This actually looks like it could be some sort of high-level co-op PvE, maybe like a horde shooter or something with like demons or whatever these are. Space Marines there in the background. So this could be teasing some sort of PvE multiplayer mode, like a horde mode. That would be amazing. I'd play the crap out of that. We don't know much about this game. We just know there's a single player campaign. I would very much like to know more, and obviously over the next year we're going to get more. We're probably going to get something in June as well at E3, and then there'll be a big build up through August as we come to that September the 9th release date. But everything I see of this looks fantastic. The gameplay that we saw a couple of months ago looks fantastic. I'm glad that they're taking the next 10 months or so to add more polish and just refine what we've seen, because it's looking amazing, and I'd hate for them to launch it in a state where it just tanks. But yeah, so Space Marine 2, not really much else to say other than I can't wait to play it. And that's why it's in this list. Let's jump on to the next one. This one took me by surprise. So this is Light No Fire. It is the next game from the No Man's Sky. I think it's Hello Games, I think they're called. But from No Man's Sky. So I didn't realize No Man's Sky was 10 years old. It's been around for a while. And obviously that game was promised as one thing at launch, and then it wasn't, and then they spent the time to fix it and make it good. But this, I don't know, there's something about this. It's the mix of fantasy and yet the art style, and there's just a lot in here that I loved. So the idea behind this is that instead of No Man's Sky where it's infinite galaxies, this is just one planet, just a giant single planet that you go off and explore, and it's still about the exploration. It's kind of I suppose it's kind of like just a massive Skyrim. Whereas Starfield copied No Man's Sky, this is potentially copying Skyrim just with an infinitely larger area. I don't know if there's boundaries, we don't really know much about it, it's just a reveal trailer. And hopefully they've learned the lessons from launching No Man's Sky and this actually delivers on what they're saying. Well, let's have a look. A multiplayer Earth, a procedural Earth, a fantasy Earth, and that's what got me. The fantasy stuff, just it's my kind of fantasy. An unexplored Earth. All in-game multiplayer. So it is primarily, it's an MMO. I think. In my brain, it's an MMO. But I just think this looks really, really amazing. I am going to mute the audio because I do know that they used an Alt-J song and that will get copyrighted as well. But, alright, there's building, there's all kinds of things. It has that survival MMO style. But this is like the How to Train Your Dragon vibes with this kind of thing, and the colours, it's very vibrant. This is the kind of fantasy that I like, you know, the walking skeletons. It's not super high fantasy, it's not like everybody's got pointed helmets and, you know, weird stuff and oversized weapons and bows and things. It's a bit more realistic, and yet you've got these weird sci-fi statues and things. I think this looks really good. I was very impressed with what they've shown off. They're claiming it's all in engine. I mean, they're claiming it must be all in engine. There's some really cool, weird stuff going on here. And there's obviously some sort of sci-fi element, like a... Oh, I don't know. What would you call it? A pre-civilization, potentially, or something that has seeded this land for you to go off and explore. Very No Man's Sky logo there. But Light No Fire. I am cautiously optimistic on this one. I hope they've learned the lessons. Everybody seems to think that No Man's Sky is doing very well at the minute. Yeah, I think that Light No Fire looks promising. I'm not going to get overly hyped about it, but it was just a really cool art style, a really cool world, and I'm very interested to see, as we learn more, to actually see what it's about, what's going on. I don't know if we got a release date. Did we get a release date? I don't think that we did. No, we didn't. Which is, it's probably a couple of years off at least. But it looks really cool, and I'm interested to see more. Right, let's jump on to the final one, and this is more of an honorary mention. Let's take a look. And the honorary mention is OD. Obviously, massive reveal, and it's a massive get for Xbox. I believe that this was confirmed as an Xbox exclusive, certainly in partnership with them. Not 100% sure, but this is the new Hideo Kojima game media experiment. I don't really know what it is. It's a game, but it's a movie, but it's transmedia, something else. It's a new thing. We learned more from Hideo when he was on stage with Jeff, and they also brought out Jordan Peele. I don't even know what this trailer is. This is why it's an honorable mention, because I don't think this is actually anything to do with the game. This is just showing off something because they had to show off something. But it's Kojima and Jordan Peele, the horror director, and half of Key and Peele. Let's just jump in. There's not a lot to say here. It's showing off who's in it, because we know Kojima has an obsession with Hollywood actors, or actors in general. It's just weird. It's very weird. It's very Kojima. Yeah. As I say, I've got nothing to say about this. I've got nothing to add. It's Game Awards, so Kojima has to be there, and it's time to show off this. So Sophia Lillis, she was in the Dungeons & Dragons movie, the excellent Dungeons & Dragons movie. And I would argue that this is obviously mocapped, but this is CGI. Hunter Schafer, Again, I think this whole trailer is CGI. We know how good Kojima is with his facial animations and things. And I don't know. I just don't know, other than it's going to be cool. Who don't care? What can you say about a Kojima product? Like, it's... What can you say? It's called OD. It's out at some point. Jordan Peele's something to do with it. Obviously all in. Is there anything else? All in Unreal. For all players and screamers, and it is obviously in development with Xbox Game Studios, which probably means it's an Xbox exclusive. I'm sorry, PS5 players. And I mean, Kojima's probably his biggest fan base is on the PS5, so this is it's an amazing get for Xbox. I would argue something like this to boost the Xbox Game Studios brand. You could probably make multi-plat and make all the money. They won't. They're going to use it to push Game Pass. Let's be real. But that's it. It's just a couple of faces going through lines, and like the facial animation is amazing. Like it is clearly mocapped, but it's all in engine. It's all in. I'm assuming Unreal 5, and it looks like. It looks amazing. Hellblade 2 was also shown off, but I'm sick of talking about Hellblade 2. I just want to play it now. It looks amazing. The just eye movements, the facial movements, everything is just stunning, which is just a feat in itself. But it doesn't tell us what the game is, apart from some sort of horror-y thing. Look, I'm going to check it out. I'm anxious to see more. I don't know what we're going to see. It's a Kojima thing. He's doing more horror stuff. He's doing more freaky stuff, and everybody's here for it, right? But that's why it's an honorary mention, because we don't know anything about it. Yeah, it's there was some interesting stuff. I think the highlight for me probably was Exodus, just because I'm in a very sci-fi focused mindset at the minute. Over on Todd Plays Games, we're trying to burn through Starfield. Which is, you know, it is what it is. One thing I will say actually about Starfield and the Game Awards, I am pleased. I mean, the music, you could argue, but there's been better games that have had better soundtracks. But Starfield didn't win anything, and it wasn't nominated for many things, and honestly, rightly so. I know people often look at the awards and go, oh, well, he's focused on this, he's focused on that, he just likes the big names. I think that the winners, you could argue a point for them being worthy. I think Baldur's Gate 3 should have won more. But that's just because I'm a massive Baldur's Gate 3 fan. It's been an incredible game. Alan Wake 2 won quite a lot. And to be fair, I haven't played Alan Wake 2 yet. It's definitely on my list. I'm so hyped about playing it. I just haven't had the chance to pick it up yet. But that won quite a few things, which is really cool, because that's a game that I'm... Like, for everything that I've seen, I think it deserves... Certainly there's an argument for what it won. But I'm just a massive Baldur's Gate 3 stan. And I'm becoming a massive Larian stan, so... I'm just biased. But yeah, so that's my I think it's 7, I think it was in the end. Top reveals from the Game Awards. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And as always, thank you very much for watching.